Let's go through the assignments in the Photos and Illustrations module, so hopefully you followed along with the video lessons of this module, and then you started to solve the assignments, and maybe you got stuck at some parts, or maybe you just want to see me solve the assignments and how I approach them. Whatever the case, welcome to this video, and let's get started. So the first part, and I'm not actually gonna like completely solve these two, but I do want to give you like a sense of where I would go with the assignments, because again, similarly to icon assignments in the final module assignments of the previous module, this is like the creative part. So if I solve it in a particular way, I think it's going to discourage maybe one of your solutions, or maybe you're going to think you did something wrong. Well, I doubt that that's going to happen. So I'm going to give you like a sense of where I would start to look for things and what are some of the attributes that I would have in mind, but I won't actually like pick a photo and place it inside. So the first assignment is about a client who has a social media app for creatives. So, okay, we have creative as one important part in here. It allows users to discover, favorite, and share their design and art projects. So it should kind of work for both designers and artists. And it's your job to find 3 fantastic photo options that will work well as background images on the login screen. So something that's going to work on the apps in here. From the typeface that was used and kind of the squarish shape of these buttons, I feel like it's a more serious app. It's very minimal in style. Okay, that's perfect. And there's just going to be shades of gray. So even if we find a photo, we can turn it into grayscale to work really well with this app in here. So what I would focus on is looking for something that maybe has like interesting shapes and shadows, something that's like minimal but visually appealing, so that it doesn't push itself in the direction of only design or only art, like the balance in between the two. So like if we're talking about plugins, maybe we can use Unsplash to kind of narrow down our search. And out of the options that are already in here, like Abstract could be one thing to explore, because I think it's going to have like interesting shapes and patterns or something. Interior, like minimal, is already in here, so that's also good. Maybe some kind of just texture. So yeah, I would start with minimal just because it's like one of the things that we have in there. Like this is interesting, this is interesting. This is leaning more towards art, but I could still see it as like a background element on some of the products. Maybe something like this where both designers and artists are gonna do a part of their work or like all of their work on a computer. So that could be something. This is really interesting to look at. This is also a good option. Something like this is, again, like interesting shapes and edges in here, but nothing's like really screaming to me like, oh, this is art or this is design. It also fun. So like this is a really good category that can definitely have like a winner or two. Let's see what else. I said Abstract could be one. Yeah, something like this, but just like in grayscale, I think could work. Or like elements like this that have highlights in some of the parts. Interesting, just like shapes in here. Yeah, I think all of these are also good options. So like this is how I would start. I would probably pick more than 3. I would pick like dozens of them and then just kind of try them and see what works and what doesn't. So let me just take this one because I do want to showcase at least like one example of what I would do. So like I use the Command X to kind of cut that photo from where it was. Now I'm gonna go in here and duplicate this layer. On the bottom one, I'm gonna actually paste it. And in here, well, because it didn't paste on this, I'm gonna go in here, go to fill, copy the fill, remove it. I can basically erase this entire frame. I'm gonna go to the bottom copied rectangle that we have, and I'm gonna paste the fill. So in here you can now see that the fill is pasted, and I'm just gonna go in here and kind of remove the saturation. Like it looks good, right? I could also play around with exposure or some of the elements to kind of make it a little bit darker or lighter. I think I'm missing like a couple of parts where I would maybe switch to contrast, because I think that's a little bit more interesting than just exposure. That's gonna light up everything, because I do feel like this part of the screen still needs to stay dark because of the white text. So yeah, this could be just like one example of the direction that you might take it. In this other assignment, we have a mobile app that allows users to easily and quickly generate GIFs. So you can use your own library or use existing meme templates. Both of those things are okay. So GIFs, I already think it kind of has some connotations that we have associated with it, and we also have like quirky as the adjective used in here. So playful, quirky, kind of like fun, something that you're going to use with friends. All of those things can really help me. Now, one thing I do have installed is like Streamline, and we do have a paid account for it. Maybe it's not fully connected yet. Oh yeah, it is. There's no upgrade button. So sometimes with some of the plugins, it takes like a minute to adjust it. But yeah, we have a paid version for it, so I don't have to use the free ones. But if you want to just try it out before purchasing a license to it, I highly recommend it as a resource for illustrations. And I can actually switch to illustrations and just kind of look for something like quirky and fun, maybe like motion. See if anything's gonna appear there. Like, honestly, I like this, so I'm gonna grab it. And again, as one of the examples of what I would look at, let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's probably going to have to be bigger than that as well, so maybe something like this. And I'm gonna remove this, and now we have all of these bubbly elements that are kind of drawn in here, and I'm just gonna adjust the colors so that they fit in with the style of what we would use in this app. And I'm gonna make this like the purple color. Now I'm unsure about the white ones. I might actually make it something different, maybe like this. But then this one is gonna become a neon green. So yeah, you can like play around with it. Again, not perfect, but for a couple of minutes gives you a sense of what I would do and what I would explore as like a potential option. Unsure if this would be fine or not. But yeah, in a couple of minutes, you can basically figure out something that you're gonna like look for, place it down, see if it works in the context of the screen that you're designing and kind of the brand elements and everything else in here. If it doesn't, like go further and figure out if there's anything else that you can do. Like there are a couple of these more line style illustrations. They all seem very quirky to me. So something like a unicorn could be a fun way to do it. So maybe just placing that in here instead of this is already a little bit better for the brand that we're working with. Let's now adjust the colors for it to fit the illustration, to make the illustration fit with the rest of the screen. And yeah, like in a couple of moments, you can already get to a point where you're maybe feeling happy with it. Again, not something that I'm going to necessarily solve for you, but hopefully with the way that I was thinking about things, you can use that to your advantage and kind of move forward with this assignment and complete it. Okay, so the second assignment, or like the second page of assignments that we have in here under the Photos and Illustrations module is using the place image method from the particular video and adding 9 different avatars in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here into object, no, is it under file, place image, and I'm gonna basically grab these. So knowing that the bottom one that I'm pick is gonna appear first, I'm gonna do that and start pasting them in here. Okay, so we have the 9 avatars placed inside. Awesome. Let's see the second. Oh, content reel plugin. Okay, let's do that. Content reel, find it, run it. I can immediately switch to images, and in here you can search for like avatar or something to kind of narrow down the options. What you do like to look for, like, I don't need workers, I don't need like beauty. I just need like good mix of male and female and non-binary avatars in here. So let's look for something that has a little bit more images. So this one has 34. I think that's better than like 6 or 10 what some of these others had. So I'm just gonna apply it here, and I'm gonna have random as the option selected because I don't really care. I just want to test this. Yeah, all look great. All look a little bit better than expected. Like the ones that I found and kind of already had prepared for pasting in here are a little bit different. Like someone's not looking directly to the camera, someone is more to the right, someone's more to the left, someone's like head is bigger. All of these other ones in here feel like they have a pretty similar distance from the camera, and like the size of the heads and the way that they're looking, it is a little bit more consistent. So it feels less likely to have a perfect case scenario like this when it's connected to user-generated content in the apps that you're going to be designing. Okay, so let's see what happens in this challenge. We have a reference on the left side, and on the right side we have our workspace. So it's time to crop the images. Okay, perfect. So let's see this one. It feels like it's a little bit zoomed in, not a lot, just a little, and more focus is put on the person. It's kind of moved more towards, like, if you think about this being split into trees and this into trees, it feels like this is kind of covering the first part of the screen. So if I zoom it in just a little bit and kind of push it more in here, this is more, oh, it's a little bit too big. I zoomed it in too much. Maybe I didn't have to zoom in at all, honestly, now when I'm looking at it. But yeah, this feels like a good crop. In here, we can definitely see why the default crop isn't really as effective as it could be. I feel like this is definitely zoomed in a little bit, and it's more centered. So what I want to achieve with this cropping is kind of have the same space in here, and in here. And I feel like this is at a good place, so the person feels a little bit more centered. And in here, oh, look, what a wonderful face. Who is it? You've been looking at me for a couple of hours now, so hopefully you're used to me. But yeah, this one also seems a little bit zoomed in. And the crop is done so that no part of the orange iMac is shown. So I'm going to crop it a little bit more and push this a little bit further. So yeah, fully centered. Okay, cool. In this assignment, and there is a lot of resources we're going to use, we're going to have to split the image below into 2 cropped images so that you can move them on the screen separately. Okay, makes sense. Let's do that first. So I'm going to do it by going into the crop mode, and I'm going to crop the champagne out of it. Then I'm going to duplicate this photo, push it to the side. I'm again in the crop mode, but I just need to put it in here, and I need to crop the glasses. So you can get as close to it as you want. I do want to have like the sense of alignment once I'm done with it, so I do crop it like really close to the edges like this. And I can also crop this one a little bit more so that it only starts in here where the bottle is. Perfect. I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna place it into my workspace and align it more to the left. This feels almost perfect. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna place it in here, and now you can see me controlling basically the champagne glasses separately from the champagne bottle. I do think that this one is going to the back because all of the other elements are going over, so I did that. Add layer blur to both the create an interesting colorful shadow. Oh, I'm guessing it's like grouping these two, or just duplicating them both, doesn't really matter. And then going to the bottom layer and adding a layer blur. So something like this to add an interesting shadow. I often move shadows more to like right and bottom because I often envision like light hitting from the top left. Or as long as it's from the top, it's good, but more often it's going to be like top left and like top right. And then I'm just also adding opacity to this blur. Finally, let's add an image fill to define like vector shape in the background. So this one. To do that, I'm just gonna go in here, grab the fill, go into here. Let's find that layer. It's this one, and paste it over. And you can see that now this vector shape has a fill with an image over it. Okay, and that's it. We have a visual with a lot of polish could be used for a website, but in here, like all of the important methods when working with photos and cropping were used. So that's the reason behind this assignment. Let's move on to the manipulating images lesson or assignment section. In here, what I see is that I do need to go in here into the image. So like double clicking the image also opens the settings up, and I need to use exposure. So I'm gonna make this a little bit lighter, a little more contrast added to everything, and I'm just gonna put the saturation down. So like it's not perfect. I feel like contrast is a little bit, too dark for this. So I'm gonna push it a little bit down, and now we're closer to the solution. I mean, if you want to, you can always reference and like figure out the right thing. But to me, the point of these assignments is not to be pixel perfect, but to kind of analyze the assignment that you have on the left. Do your best to think of what you need to do and how, like, do you need to increase something, decrease it? And then once you do that, to actually just kind of compare the solutions and see if some tweaking is needed. Okay, in this one, we do have to use highlights. So I feel like highlights are actually going down in this example. Contrast is a little bit up. Saturation slider is probably down. Then add another layer or fill where you have to create the desired gradient. Okay, so we have a gradient fill in here. That makes sense. Let me just push this from here to here. I think this is like some tone of blue, like this, and it goes into really like magenta purplish down, and then use the blend mode on that. So in here with this linear gradient fill, because it's a second fill, it's not another layer above it, I do want to control the blending mode in here. And let's see, which one would it be? It wouldn't be color, no. Maybe something like overlay, no. Hard light, no. Color dodge, Screen is closer. Lighten is a lot closer. Color burn, no. Dark, no. Normal, no. I really don't think it's gonna be one of these two, but I'm also wondering like what is it, because it's not like necessarily noticeable. Oh, sorry. I used the 20% fill, so that's why none of the effects really made sense. It's more likely to be something like color, no. Luminosity, no. Saturation, no. Hard light, no. Soft light, no. It's funny to try to figure out what effect was used. Oh, here we are. Perfect. Okay, so it's lighten. Got it. And I do feel like this is more like in here, and in here we have something like orangish based on what I see in here. But I also feel like these are probably down a lot in opacity. Okay, this is now getting really close to it, so I'm happy with where I took it. The only thing I don't really think I got correct was the contrast, so I feel like that should be down a bit. And maybe it's contrast that's down and the highlights are actually up. No, definitely not. But maybe not as down as this. So yeah, this is getting closer to the solution on the left. Okay, let's see what we need to do in here. Temperature, highlights, and saturation sliders. Okay, one thing is saturation is definitely a little bit higher. Temperature, I feel like is moving in the other direction to make it bluer. And saturation, highlights would actually move down a bit. Yeah. So maybe just move the saturation a little bit down, like this. Okay, it's still not really there. Maybe temperature not so much. Okay. And then highlights a little bit down. Yeah, something like this. Okay, what we have in here is we have to duplicate this photo into 2 layers. Okay, the first one will have an overlay of black color over it. So let's just hide this one for a second. Go in here, add an overlay of black. Let's make it like 50. I do think that this one has a saturation down to 0. The duplicate layer above will be resized into a 15 by 512 by 512 square. So let's do it. Awesome. Let's center it. Rotate it by a few degrees, maybe like 3 or 4. Crop the photo so that the most important element, the plate, is in the focus. Okay, but we also have some kind of a stroke in here. I think it might be centered. And I do feel like there's a shadow in here, but maybe there's not. And we just need to crop this now. Okay, I think that's done. Let's see what we have in here. Make the design in your workspace more accessible by using overlays, gradient fills, and blend modes. Oof, this one is a little bit tougher. Oh, thank you Figma for reminding me to maybe install a new update that just came, but I won't do it right now. Let's see. We have overlays, gradient fills, and blend mode. So I do feel like this is probably gonna get a subtle 10% overlay. Maybe it is 20%. I don't know. Maybe I can just make it like darken a little bit or something that's not gonna be as noticeable. I don't know about this, but there's also a linear gradient that I could use from the bottom to the top. And let's make it a little bit bluer like this, while this one on the top is gonna be a little bit lighter blue, but the opacity should be really low. And in here the opacity is better, but let's make it like 40 or 30. Okay, so that makes that part a little bit more noticeable. Let's add a subtle drop shadow to this. So maybe a smaller blur and a smaller Y. I mean, I still feel like there's something in here, so I do want to inspect the reference frame to kind of learn from it. Let me see, it's this one. Let's unlock it. Let's see what was in here. So, oh, there was an rectangle with a linear overlay. The overlay seems pretty similar to what we've used in here. I just feel like this is a little bit darker. So maybe that was our problem. Yeah, it might have solved a lot of things already. In here we have 2 drop shadows, so okay, that's something that I also didn't like plan for. And then finally, oh yeah, there's a 20% black overlay, and it's an overlay. Okay, so not a lot that I did wrong. In here we have overlay at 20%. There is a linear fill. I think it was set at 50, and it's a little bit darker like this. And also finally, this just had another shadow that was probably like bigger spread, but not as noticeable. Yeah, okay. I think all of these assignments are now considered done. Let's see what we can do with manipulating illustrations. This is going to be a really simple solution. Hopefully you didn't get stuck with this one. But again, if you did, like, no problem, rewatch the lesson, watch this solution video, and hopefully the next time when you're going to be doing it for real, it's not going to be a problem to you at all. Let's just color pick these things. This, and then finally this is gonna be the blue one. And yeah, that's a perfect use of selection colors. Creating mockups is one other thing that I really want to dedicate some time to. As you know, when we went over a couple of important plugins and like installing them, I did mention Artboard Studio and I did show you how it works, but in case you missed it, there is a link to it, and there is also an exclusive discount that you can get. Like if you want like all of the pro features, you can grab it at a discounted rate because you're a student of this course. And what we want to do in here is basically take this screen and put it into a mockup. So I'm gonna go in here, find my Artboard Studio plugin. I'm gonna load it. I'm gonna look for an iPhone. I feel like this might actually be the exact one. So you're always gonna get 2 frames with it. One is where you're gonna have to place your design. So how I often do it is I would just grab the design as an image, so Command-Shift-C, and then I would paste it inside of the frame and just kind of resize it to make it work with the frame size that is in here. It seems to fit perfectly, which is great. If not, some cropping might be required and adjusting. Now the only thing you have to do when you have this position in the correct frame is select this frame that has the design and set to render. Now we have this, and we can just grab this, and again, you can export it as a photo or not, however you want to, and kind of resize it and place it where you want it, where you want to use it. So something like this, again, a little bit bigger, but that's correct. Okay, and those are all of the assignments that are connected to working with photos and illustrations. Hopefully you learned a lot with this recorded solutions video. Again, things like this could really help you stand out when you're building your portfolios or making the products that you're working on feel a little bit more real to the users that are visiting them. So yeah, all of those things are now covered, and we can move on to the final module assignment, which is going to be in the next video.